start from here. This is a 6-inch coming in from the street. This is the main shut-off to the system for the whole building. This is a city side, Tampa.
Yep.
So if there was a leak from here to there, you'll need the town to shut off the service out in the street. You guys know that, correct? And this is the system side Tampa switch. And if you need to work on the backflow, you shut this one and this one, and then you have total access to the backflow without draining the whole building. And we have a low water pressure. It's like out in the street, something breaks. This will monitor low city pressure, and it will go into supervisory, on the alarm panel. And that will tell you that there might not be adequate water pressure for your system.
Yep.
All right? And what we have here is this first riser is the FDC fire department connection. This feeds it. It's here because it has to be before the dry system. So this goes all the way up, and if you're familiar with the music room in the far corner, the FDC is located in that on the outside wall on Foster Street. Is that Foster's?
Yeah, that's Foster.
Yeah, so the fire department connection is located out there. And then what we have is, this is the main riser that feeds the whole building. And on each stairwells, there's 5 other systems that isolates the floors, but this is the main for this. Like you said, you just come in and you want to shut this with fire department's blessing, but this will shut down the whole building. And you'll see the city pressure fluctuates. Right now it's at 75 pounds. That's average. I've seen it up to 80, so maybe in the morning might be lower. But what we have here is the main shut off. And this is there's a clapper here. So this is the system, and that's the street pressure. And then the main drain is right here. Okay, the main drain goes up and out of the stairwell. So that will drain the whole building. But if you were to work here, I have a low point drain, and you can run a hose. I left this hose drawer off. Just run it over to the ejector. That's what I would do, because then, if anything, it will. Then you can work on the system with the drain. The dry system is for the media center / gymnasium. It's a 450-gallon system. So it meets the requirements of, you don't need a certain time for the water to come out. You know how some systems you got to be there within a minute? Yeah. That's 550 gallons plus. This is 450. So it took us like a minute. It's recorded here, like a minute, 58 seconds for the water to come out. So that time is just recorded. Doesn't have to beat a minute.
Doesn't have to.
All right. So what we got here is, this is the main tamper valve for the dry system, and we have low air pressure. If there was a leak or the compressor broke, this would go into alarm, and it would flash on your alarm panel telling you that there's a problem. So you'll have to look into that. Most likely it could be a leak somewhere, or the compressor's shut off accidentally. And that, there's no shut off switch for this, like a light switch, because we don't want somebody to shut it off accidentally. Yeah. So it's over here in that panel. The panel is locked right now, but it's in the upper corner.
Okay.
It's a double pull. So that's the main shut off for the air compressor. That's the only shut off. And then back here is the water pressure flow switch. When a head is triggered, the air will lose pressure, and then the water will flow. This is like the flow switch.
Okay.
And then I know you do a full trip test once every 3 years, unless your insurance or the school requires it. I don't know what Arlington, but in the code book, once a year. So I'll show you where that is. It's in the media center. But if you wanted to do just a bypass, that's this valve right here, and it will put this into alarm. There's a valve right here. That's for the bypass. Okay. Here's all your hydraulic calculations that's required to be hung here. So they're just hanging. And then in the back, there's a spare head box with spare heads, a head wrench, and Teflon if needed.
Yep.
Okay, there's 2 boxes there. Your compressor is mounted to the riser. Oh, here's the main drain for the, it's labeled for the dry system. And once again, there's only one low point. I think I labeled that here. One low point. It asks how many low points for the system, and that's in the media center. That's a drum drip. So you know how to work drum drips? I'll show you. There's two valves.
Open up the
Top.
top, they close it, close the top, open the
Yes, very good. And you can maintain the system to get rid of condensation, or if it does trip, you want to drain that and this. And once again, you'll drain the entire building except for where he's standing down, and then I would recommend hooking up a hose and draining into there. This is the first floor zone. What we have, this is the combination riser. It is the standpipe slash that feeds the first floor. It also feeds the second and third floor in the old school. Are you guys familiar with the old school built in the 20s and the new section over there?
Not really.
That's a separate zone. I'll show you on the camera. So this will do like the main hallway, the cafeteria, slash over to the elevator room. There's a bathroom there, so it's right to there. So we'll do the whole first floor. All right, there's an isolation valve. If somebody ever had to work on the standpipe or slat, you can just isolate the standpipe and then shut down the zone, and then you'll be able to work upstairs without draining everything. So there's the first valve, tamper switch. It's alarmed for supervisory. And then there's a flow switch. So if somebody was to do an inspection to get time, it's all done right here. This is a slash test and drain. And so it will go right out the building, it goes right out. So that has a 1/2-inch orifice and open it for a wide drain. And what we have here, these are pressure relief valves set at 175. So in case a fire truck accidentally pumps more than 200 pounds in, sometimes they hook up the truck to the FDC. This will release the pressure at 175 so they won't be blowing heads off everywhere throughout the building or breaking things. So those are always there. Each floor is built the same with the check valve, manifold, isolation valve, and the gauge. And then the test and drains. And once again, this is a 2.5-inch with the 1.5-inch reducing valve. So there's 2.5 and 1.5-inch reducing valves. The upstairs is typical 2 and 3. This is the combination riser, it's typical. That zone on first, second, and third floor does we called it the A building, but from the CAF, really right down to the hallway, and a little into the hallway that feeds the main lobby. And I'll show the guys where it's a separate zone. We're in stairway 3, and this is just a standpipe, and it has an isolation valve. And the other stairway was stairway 2, and that was the combination riser. This is just a FDC standpipe, yes. So like I said, with the isolation valve. From that point where the main, the cross section of where we cross paths right there, the main drops down. So if somebody was to work on the system, there's a low point here that we put in, it's right up in that closet. That's a low point right there to you. So you hook up a hose and drain it into this janitor's sink. Yeah, okay, because that will drain the main. Yeah, it'll just trapped. Be convenient to drain it right in there, you know what I mean? This is the elevator machine room. The building's 100% sprinkled except for this room. In Massachusetts code, we do not do the elevator machine rooms. Okay, so don't think we're missing a head. It's just not required. This is the doorway that goes out to the main lobby, and that section from that stairwell ends right here. And so from here over is its own zone. So if you had to work over here, we're going to go to the stairwell that feeds this side, okay? So this is the end, okay? And all the way up, 1, 2, and 3. Well, 3 is easy. We're in the music room right now, and the fire department connection is right outside this soffit. It comes directly fed from the mechanical room. So there's no main shut-off. You just have to shut the valves at the O's and Y if you have to. And right up here in the ceiling is a valve that's normally closed. It's in the normally closed position all the time, and it's just for future testing. It's a bypass right here. So it would be for future testing of the FDC in case it requires you hook up a hose or something. So right up here is a bypass. This is stairway 4, and this zone here will feed theater, the music room, and the principal's office, and all from that section where I told you it's divided. So this is the first floor zone, and this is also a combination standpipe riser, and it feeds. And the drain right here just goes right out to that driveway. But once again, we have an isolation valve that will we'll be able to shut off the standpipe, and then the floor control valve with its test and drain right here, once again with the pressure reducer valve and the flow switch. So all the testing is done right from here, right out the building. And there's your fire hose valve. And this is along with the second floor also, same setup for above us. And that will be for the art room / everything else up on that section. And right here is the section again where it's one zone fed from stairway 3. Yep. And this here is fed from stairway 2. So here's the cutoff. We're in room 213D off the media center. And up here in the ceiling, you can see the sign that says test and drain. That is the only low point of the dry system. I think 80% of the dry system, 90% of the dry system will be fed from the main valve, drained from the main valve in the sprinkler room, but your drum drip is up here. And it dropped down to feed these 4 heads in these low office areas. Everything else is drained from the main drain. But this here will turn into your drum drip / inspection test. Okay, so when it's time to do a trip flow, so come up here and just open them wide open. And we got it draining outside. Dry system is in the media center and the gymnasium. And there's a few rooms off of the gymnasium. And that's the dry system.